Production of the Department of Broadcasting at Western Illinois University.
Up next on News 3, Western's recent Murray Street hoax is coming to a close. Find out how much this 911 call is costing the taxpayers. And in town versus gown, the locals are opposed to students establishing another fraternity house. News 3's Rachel Stibing has the latest on Pi Kappa Phi's struggle. And more details have emerged about two SGA candidates. While one student is apologizing for his past, another is dodging questions about a recent arrest. We have more details coming up now.
Welcome to News 3, live at 4. News with Jessica Adduci and with Chris Lovingood. Sports with Gabriel McDonagh. And weather forecasts from our team of meteorology students at Western Illinois University. News 3 starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. I'm Jessica Adduci.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. Student Government Association elections are underway until 4 o'clock tomorrow, and no position has garnered more attention than the election for SGA Board of Trustees.
A candidate running for the position has been under fire for an arrest record, but he insists his past is no longer a reflection of his future.
Tuesday's SGA debate featured a lot of heated arguments and answered many questions, but much attention was focused on Board of Trustees candidate Jonathan McGee, who held the position last semester before resigning amid controversy.
I let the students down, and I want to redeem myself. I want to make sure that I am advocating for the students on all cylinders, and that includes the Board of Trustees.
McGee left his post after an August arrest for running from the authorities.
I have learned my mistake. I've learned from it. I've overcome it, and time heals everything. I am more sincere than I've ever been in my life. That humbled me, and I'm just here to serve. I'm a servant, and if the students do not feel as though that I'm adequately enough to serve them on the Board of Trustees, then I don't deserve it.
Re-election to the Board of Trustees is not an easy task for McGee, as he is opposed by a strong candidate in Andre Ashmore.
My position, he's a good guy. I've worked hand in hand with him over many issues in Black Student Association, but I feel as though he is running his campaign off apologies, and that's not what the students here at Western Illinois need. We need someone who's going to be consistent, who's going to keep a clean record, and also someone who's going to be dependable and accountable for the students.
If the students want to elect me as their student member to the Board of Trustees, I will be ecstatic, because then I will be able to renew those initiatives, and I know that I've rebuilt their trust. But if they do not want me to serve, then I will continue to serve them in another capacity, in any capacity that I can.
For Live at 4, I am Pierce Roberson.
McGee is campaigning with SGA presidential candidate Alex Gleason. However, another candidate's past is coming to the forefront in this election. Gleason's other running mate, Antonio Marshall, said at Tuesday's SGA debate that an outstanding arrest warrant against him was taken care of. Marshall told the Western Courier that he took care of the warrant just last month. However, News 3 contacted the McDonagh County Jail and discovered Marshall was actually arrested Tuesday, the same day as the SGA debate, by the OPS, and then was transported to the McDonagh County Jail at 3:44 p.m. 22-year-old Marshall was arrested in Corbin Hall on an active McDonagh County warrant. The Western Courier reports the SGA candidate was arrested on June 29, 2011 for resisting a police officer.
WIU students still have time to vote in the general election for the SGA. Students will be able to log on to STARS and vote for the president, vice president, senator at large, and board of trustees. To vote, log on to stars.wiu.edu and drop down to the student voting election information. Voting runs until 4 o'clock tomorrow. In more local news, the final numbers have been submitted involving the cost for law enforcement agencies to respond to the Murray Street hoax nearly 3 weeks ago. The amount totals more than $12,000 for the 5-hour investigation in paid overtime and other expenses. WIU's Office of Public Safety is requesting $1,300. The Macomb Police Department is seeking $2,400. The McDonagh County Sheriff's Office totaled $1,000, and the largest came from the Illinois State Police, $7,800. Alvin Montgomery is charged with a Class 4 felony in connection with the false 911 call.
Last night was the candidates forum at the Macomb High School Library. News 3's Adam Yingst has more.
Yesterday, Macomb residents made their way over to the Macomb High School Library for the candidates forum for the consolidated election coming up on April 9th. The forum featured 3 different races, including the race for 2nd Ward Alderman, 5th Ward Alderman, and Macomb School Board, which will have 4 seats up for grabs. School board candidates featured in last night's forum included Ardell Thompson, Robert Schaus, Leslie Weston, Matthew Clark, Jill Jolene Myers, and James LaPrade. The school board candidates discussed topics such as cost containment plans for Macomb schools, bringing agricultural education back to Macomb High, and even discussed a pay-to-play option where parents will be paying for their child's extracurricular activities.
Sounds like, and this is just my own opinion, but it sounds like there are kids who are not able to participate because of not being able to pay dues.
The second ward alderman debate went a little differently due to candidate Steve Whalen not being able to attend the forum. Opposing candidate Kay Hill was not allowed to answer any questions due to Whalen's absence, but was allowed to talk very briefly. The second ward alderman election has been a hot topic around Macomb these last couple of weeks. Here's what candidate Kay Hill had to say about it.
You know, if that's the way it's to be conducted, I don't make the rules, just try to follow them.
Early voting ends April 6th. Election Day is Tuesday, April 9th at regular polling places starting at 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Also in local news, Macomb City Council has faced some controversial topics the last few weeks. News 3's Rachel Steibing is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Chris. Many things go into becoming an official fraternity on campus. One group is learning that finding a place to call your own sometimes isn't all that easy. About a month ago, members of the new fraternity Pi Kappa Phi set out to find a location for their fraternity house, and 901 West Carroll Street stood out. However, many concerns have been raised by neighbors, including noise and parking.
There seems to be no other plan for people who come for chapter meetings or social occasions or overnight or weekend guests or what have you.
Pi Kappa Phi has been on campus for 4 months now. President Michael Quigley says their motto is being men of class.
We pride ourselves on trying to be the different fraternity on campus.
Despite a planning commission presentation and an appearance at Monday night's committee of the whole meeting, residents in the area don't seem to be changing their mind.
Many times people come before us with a great agenda of how nice they'll be and how improved the neighborhood will be and how gung-ho they are to make themselves different. Those people graduate.
Behind me is 901 West Carroll Street. Many local residents have raised concerns about bringing a fraternity into this house. However, there are other fraternities just in a few blocks of this area.
2 other fraternities within the square block, and that's one of the reasons why we chose that spot.
Both Michael and Eric say they still have hope the City Council will approve their special requests.
We wish that we had the time to show you all that we were different from what you might have perceived, and not just you guys, but also the citizens who live in that area. But with that, we absolutely respect the decision that you guys make.
I understand Macomb isn't all about Western Illinois University. The community is what we're trying to work with.
A final vote on the issue will be made at next Monday's City Council meeting. I will be present at that City Council meeting, and as News 3 learns more, we will keep you updated.
Thanks for that, Rachel. Temperatures have been slowly rising all week, and we are already 13 degrees warmer than last week. With talk of spring here to stay, students are beginning to drop those winter coats. News 3's Kenzie Gibson is here to tell us more. Kenzie?
Yes, finally we are starting to see some spring weather approach our area. It's been a beautiful day today. We saw lots of sunshine, warmer temperatures as well with a high of 47, drier air, and the warmer temperatures are helping melt the snow, and hopefully that'll be the last we ever see of that. Now, will the sunshine continue on into the weekend? Stay tuned for my full forecast coming up in the next 10 minutes.
Thanks for that, Kenzie. With spring approaching, you can also look forward to seeing more construction in the Macomb area. McDonagh County will be undergoing construction projects during these spring months. Many local streets have been affected from the past winter conditions. The street surfaces are very uneven and have many potholes that may damage cars. This early season construction will begin soon. Take a break from your busy schedule and head to the Sandberg Theater tonight for some fun. Award-winning magician Peter Bowie will be presenting Magic for Non-Believers. Rather than trying to figure out if his magic is real, he will instead have you focusing on having fun and enjoying yourself. Peter has performed for celebrities such as Neil Young and quarterback Tom Brady. The event is tonight at 8 o'clock in the Sandberg Theater and is free of cost.
Last night, the ladies of Delta Zeta held their 4th annual Greek Idol at Cafe Aroma. 10 talented performances took place last evening filled with singing, dancing, and even a little bit of both. The judges were left with a tough decision, but after the final tallies were counted, Pi Kappa Phi Steve Render walked away with the first place prize. The ladies of Delta Zeta raised over $1,000 from last night's event. All proceeds are going towards their philanthropy for speech and hearing.
Also in Leatherneck news, BU Health Services held National Kick Butts Day, cigarette butts that is, in the University Union's concourse. WIU teamed up with the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and provided information about the hazards of smoking and using tobacco. BU Health Services brings health tips every week via Twitter and Facebook. The tips this week was to kick butts. A popular hangout spot on the WIU campus will be getting a new look soon. The Board of Trustees will be meeting tomorrow to discuss plans to renovate the University Union. The first phase will focus on the ground floor and will cost about $10 million. Work will begin in May and take about 14 months to complete. The 50-year-old building will get a new floor, lighting, and furniture.
WIU students will not be able to log onto their Zimbra emails this Saturday. It's part of an ongoing renovation at Morgan Hall Data Center. Zimbra.wiu.edu, the P drive, and another web server will be inaccessible from 8 a.m. till 8 o'clock p.m. Students will still be able to use their WIUP Stars and Western Online. And it's that time again for our pet of the week. Today's animal is a sweet young pup that goes by the name of Ellie. She is an all-black, flat-coated retriever who is about a year and a half old. She is not yet fixed, but does have her first set of shots, including her distemper and bordetella. Along with having all of her shots, this healthy 56-pound dog is heartworm negative. Sadly, she was picked up in the town by the shelter and would love to go to a good, caring family. Ellie has been in the shelter since February 5th and needs help finding a home very soon. If you have any questions on today's pet or any of the other animals, feel free to contact the McDonagh County Animal Shelter. Remember, these dogs count on you to find a good forever home, so please choose to adopt.
There's big news related to the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting.
And James Holmes has entered a guilty plea. Will he tell you what he's trying to avoid? Ahead after the break.
And now, another adventure with Savings Man.
Look, honey, the neighbors just bought a big screen TV.
Hey, I just got a bonus at work. Maybe we should get one too.
Hold on there.
Savings Man.
Using your bonus to secure your future by paying down debt or saving is a better way to go.
Well, I declare you're right, Savings Man.
Stay ahead by choosing to save. And don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses.
But their name is Johnson.
For more tips and tools, visit choosetosave.org today.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today, and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello. Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
A public service message on building strong bones for kids from the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America and the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Olympic sprinter Oscar Pistorius will now be allowed to travel across seas while out on bail for murder charges. Lawyers for Pistorius argued for the lighter bail restrictions this morning in court. A judge ruled he will be given back his passport so he can travel abroad, but he must give 1 week's notice and submit an itinerary. Pistorius is charged with premeditated murder in the death of his model girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp, on February 14th. He claims he accidentally shot her after confusing her for an intruder. Prosecutors in Connecticut have released court documents today containing some new information on the Sandy Hook massacre. 85 pages of affidavits, search warrants, and list of items seized from Adam Lenz's car and home were released. The 20-year-old gunman had been stockpiling weapons months in advance before the shootings. They also found hundreds of rounds of various ammunition inside the house, receipts and emails documenting firearms and ammunition supplies, and a folder labeled guns with receipts and paperwork for firearms. The final report is expected to be released in June.
Following threats from North Korea, the U.S. has sent 2 B-2 bombers to South Korea. The bombers joined military drills in South Korea. They dropped dummy munitions on an island range. It's just another way the U.S. is exercising its force against North Korean threats. U.S. and South Korean military exercises will continue until the end of April. And the suspect in the Colorado theater shooting has been offered to plead guilty. According to court documents, the plea bargain would see the 25-year-old James Holmes spend the rest of his life in prison. The prosecutors haven't accepted the offer because they may choose to pursue the death penalty. Holmes is accused of opening fire inside a showing of The Dark Knight Rises film in Aurora, Colorado back in July, killing 12 people and injuring 58. Prosecutors say they will make a decision on whether to seek the death penalty at a hearing April 1st.
And Kenzie will have our full weather forecast right after the break.
What age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and 1 person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Something's not right. My first symptoms were
constant tingling in my toes.
Double vision. They said you have multiple sclerosis.
Kind of had to get a grasp on reality.
I had to adapt and change very rapidly.
I had to learn how to drive with my hands. Yeah, that was interesting.
A symptom may cause you not to be able to do that anymore. And at one point, I wasn't able to do any of those.
Since I've been cycling, it's definitely helped my walking.
It's a fantastic opportunity to be working together with a common goal of curing MS, and sharing is the key.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
I'm a big believer in the power of we. We can tackle the tough challenges we face and build community through service and volunteering. It's time for you to raise your hand. Go to serve.gov and get involved in something you believe in.
How will you raise your hand when they call your name?
Are you with me?
We weren't born to follow.
We are currently seeing clear skies for this afternoon with a high of 46 degrees, humidity at 53%, and winds coming in from the south at 8 miles per hour. Now overnight tonight we'll be seeing mostly cloudy skies with an overnight low of 36 degrees and winds coming in from the south at 8 miles per hour. The temperature around this time of year looks above average, and that's good for us because it's been really cold lately and we need to see those warmer temperatures. The monthly total is about 3 inches of rain and 4 inches of snow for this month. Looking at the national radar, we see there's a few showers out to the south, clear skies for our area, and then showers out here to the west that might work its way into our area tomorrow night. Looking at the current surface, the temperatures above this warm front are warm with the high pressure system building in, keeping in the warm and sunny temperatures that we saw for today during the day. And looking at the temperatures across the area, we're generally between high 40s, low 50s. St. Louis area 50 degrees, and in the 60s around Springfield and southern parts of the states. Now the U.S. temperatures across the nation, we're seeing 60s in the 50s in the Midwest, and even the northern states are seeing the mid 40s. And then looking at the surface for Friday, a high pressure system is in the northern part of Chicago, which will bring sunny conditions for us as well throughout the day on Friday. And then on Saturday morning, we'll still see sunny conditions, and we want to keep an eye out for this low pressure system as it builds into our area, and we'll see some rain expected for Saturday throughout the day and Saturday evening as well. Now let's take a look at the rest of the week. This weekend, we'll see sunny conditions on Friday, and those temperatures are going to warm up as well, 52 for the high. And then on Saturday, you want to get your raincoats on or stay inside because we're expecting rain throughout the day with a high of 55 degrees. And then on Sunday, we'll have sunny conditions again with a high of 56. And then the beginning of next week, those temperatures are going to drop, but don't worry too much because we're not going to be expecting snow. It's supposed to be sunny on Monday and Tuesday as well.
Well, thank you for that, Kenzie. You know, I think it actually is getting really nice outside. I think we finally beaten that cold streak.
Yes, we
yes,
have.
I would say so.
Yes, and speaking of beating streaks, how about them Bulls, Gabe?
Yeah, the Bulls were pretty impressive. They pulled out a huge win last night over at the UC. We'll have highlights and much more coming up in sports.
It is so easy to give back.
I don't have a lot of money to help people, but I do have something. I have time.
Get up and do something. Just imagine how strong a society we could be.
Every one of us has a role to play in making our communities and our country stronger. Discover yours. Help us continue to make a difference in the life of our nation. Go to serve.gov and find the opportunity that works for you. And this message is brought to you by the Corporation for National and Community Service.
Stop. Whether it's on the way to school, at school, or online, bullying has become a non-stop threat to our youth today. Is your child being bullied? The National Runaway Switchboard can help. If you're having a hard time, get online or call to chat now.
Welcome back. WIU baseball came out with their first series win of the season against the University of Michigan last weekend, taking 2 of 3 from the Wolverines. The Leathernecks took the series win on the second game of Saturday's doubleheader by the score of 2-1. The Leathernecks were led by starting pitcher Tom Constad, who picked up his first career victory while throwing a career-high 6 1/3 innings with 2 strikeouts and 0 earned runs allowed. The baseball team looks to continue their winning ways as they will travel to take on the University of Illinois Chicago Flames in a 3-game set which starts tonight at 6 p.m. In college basketball, the madness kicks off again tonight with Sweet 16 action getting set for tonight. Tonight's early matchups include Marquette taking on the University of Miami and Arizona versus Ohio State, with the late night games consisting of number 1 seeded Indiana taking on Syracuse and LaSalle against Wichita State. On Friday, the rest of the Sweet 16 matchups will take place as we have number 1 seed Louisville taking on Oregon, Kansas versus Michigan, and Duke versus Michigan State, with the last matchup has Cinderella story Florida Gulf Coast taking on the University of Florida in the last game of the Sweet 16. Be sure to tune in to News 3's Tuesday's newscast with sports anchor Nico Hefflinger for full highlights of the weekend's games. Moving on to the NBA, we have the Chicago Bulls taking on the Miami Heat, who are looking to extend their win streak to a record 28 games, but the Bulls had other plans. Pick it up in the second quarter now. We have some nice inside passing by the Bulls here. Over to Taj Gibson, kicks it out to Luol Deng for the slam. He finished with a team high 28 points. Heat in transition now, kicking it back to LeBron James for the alley-oop slam. And we'll see here again, Mario Chalmers comes up with the steal, kick it back to the King, and he'll flush it home. He had a game high 32 points. Late in the third now, Mario Chalmers with some nice action gets the layup and the lead, but that would not last long for the Miami Heat. Take a look here. The Heat were getting frustrated as LeBron James throwing some shoulders there on Carlos Boozer. He would pick up a flagrant foul on that play. Now the game under 2 minutes remaining in the game. Nate Robinson trying to kick it out. He'll shoot all that, but it's knocked around. Rebound by Boozer and the finish with the layup. Great job by Boozer getting the offensive rebound. Bulls would go on to win 101-97, beating the Heat to lose their game streak, which was at 27 games, which is the second longest in NBA history. The Bulls are off today and will play the Dallas Mavericks over in Dallas tomorrow, where tip-off is scheduled for 1 p.m. And in the NHL, the Hawks are at home on Tuesday, taking on the Calgary Flames. Let's look at the highlights here, and hey, look who it is. It's Mr. T. He was in attendance over at the game. Pick it up in the first here. Hawks get on the board here with a nice wrist shot by Nick Leddy right past Mika Kiprusoff for the Hawks 1-0 goal. Now 2 minutes left in the second period. Now Hawks on the offense again, and it's Brent Seabrook with a redirected goal, 2-0 Hawks. And now late in the third, we have Calgary pull the goalie with an empty net here, just trying to get some points on the board, but no sir. Ray Emery says nothing, and he'll get that shutout. Blackhawks win 2-0. The Blackhawks are off tonight and will face the second best team over in the West, the Anaheim Ducks, at home tomorrow, where puck drop is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. So guys, Bulls are getting back on track. That's nice to see, and I'm really looking forward to the NCAA tournament starting up again today.
Thanks, Gabe.
I'm glad that's going good for them. Coming up after the break, parents call it terrible twos for a reason.
We'll take at what one sneaky toddler is getting away with when we return.
Here's what you do. Step 1, walk over to Wendell. Step 2, put your arm around him. But I barely knew. That's okay. Now, step 3, walk away together. Let's go. Don't take on a bully. Take off with your friends. And remember, friendship beats bullies every time. For more information, go to agruff.org.
I'm a lion. Yes, you are. Come here. Let's see how this looks.
Hey, how's my little horse?
She's a lion.
Yes, she is, sir.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference.
Christopher, your word is SIPC.
Could you use it in a sentence, please?
In the unlikely event that your brokerage firm goes out of business, SIPC is there to protect you.
Civic.
I'm sorry, Christopher, that is incorrect. Lisa Fannin. Lisa, your word also is civic.
May I have that in another sentence, please?
Civic funds are available to satisfy brokerage customer claims up to a maximum of $500,000, including up to $100,000 for cash claims.
Civic. S-I-P-K.
Don't know about SIPC, the Securities Investor Protection Corporation? That's okay. We can spell it out for you. Learn more at www.sipc.org.
Some toddlers don't share their toys so well, especially with their siblings.
And this 2-year-old has figured out a sneaky way to get his sister's toys. He's been called the Bedtime Bandit. Take a look at this 2-year-old takes fingernail clippers to pick his sister's bedroom lock. He gets into the room, hides the evidence, and steals his sister's toy. He almost got away with it too if he wasn't for the hidden camera. And that's all the time we have for this afternoon. For Gabriel McDonagh, I'm Jessica Adduci.
And for Kenzie Gibson, I'm Chris Lovingood. Have a good afternoon.